Imagine spending hundreds of dollars on new brake pads every year while your neighbor replaces theirs every 4 or 5 years. Same roads, same kind of car, roughly the same mileage. That's not luck, and it's not the brand of parts they're using. It comes down to 11 driving habits that either spare your brakes or grind them down way faster than they should be, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which side of that equation you're currently on. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 1. Riding the brakes downhill. Picture a long mountain descent where the driver plants their foot on the brake pedal and just holds it there the whole way down, thinking that's the safe move. It's not. What's actually happening is the rotors are soaking up heat continuously with no chance to cool off. And once rotor temperature climbs past a certain point, the metal warps slightly, so every future stop feels uneven and grabby. Brakes convert kinetic energy into heat, and on a long hill that process never pauses, so the system never recovers the way it would in normal driving. You might not feel the pedal pulsing for weeks after a bad descent. The fix is downshifting before the hill starts, letting the engine absorb most of the speed control, and only tapping the brakes in short intervals rather than riding them the whole way down. Number 2. Sudden hard braking at the last second. There's a driver we've all seen, probably been at some point, who accelerates right up to a red light and then stomps the brake pedal at the last second. That habit probably does more damage per mile than almost anything else on this list, because hard braking generates an enormous heat spike in a very short window, and the pad material can't shed that heat fast enough between compression and release. Did you know a single hard stop from highway speed can push pad surface temperatures close to 500 degrees Fahrenheit? At that point, the binding resins in the pad material start breaking down, which glazes the surface and reduces its grip on the rotor going forward. Glazed pads perform worse, so the driver presses harder, which glazes them further, and the cycle runs until the pads are gone well before their rated mileage. Lifting off the accelerator earlier and letting the car bleed speed before applying moderate brake pressure keeps the brakes in their optimal temperature range, and it actually shortens stopping distances in most everyday situations. The difference between braking early and braking late isn't about reflexes. It's the gap between 70,000 miles on a set of pads and 20,000. Number 3. Keeping your foot lightly on the brake pedal. Most people who do this have no idea they're doing it. The left foot just kind of drifts over and rests lightly against the brake pedal while the right foot handles the gas. And it feels like nothing because the car isn't actually slowing down. But even that slight pressure brings the pads into contact with the rotors. And that contact, while the car's moving at speed, creates continuous low-level friction that quietly chews through pad material. This kind of wear is chronic rather than acute, so the rotor never cools. And over time, the pad material bonds to the rotor surface in thin layers that accelerate uneven wear. Train your left foot to rest on the dead pedal instead, and mechanics can actually spot this habit during inspections because the pads wear across the full surface rather than at the edges. Number 4. Ignoring engine braking, using gears to slow down. Most automatic transmission drivers just brake, full stop, and that's understandable because automatics handle gear selection on their own. But most modern automatics let you manually drop into a lower gear range when you actually need to. Relying entirely on your brake pads means every bit of the vehicle's kinetic energy runs through one system, when the drivetrain could absorb a real share of it through engine compression. And the math here is pretty unforgiving. Stopping from 60 miles per hour doesn't require twice the braking energy as stopping from 30. It requires 4 times as much. You won't believe how quickly dropping to a lower gear before a highway exit or a long descent becomes second nature. And engine braking doesn't wear your drivetrain in any measurable way under normal driving, so there's no downside to starting today. Number 5. Driving aggressively in stop-and-go traffic. City driving is already rough on brakes by design, but the version that really destroys a braking system is the surge and stop pattern, where you accelerate hard into every gap and then brake hard at the next red light. The average urban driver brakes around 75,000 times a year, and the energy each stop demands scales directly with how fast you were going before you touched the pedal. A driver surging to 35 miles per hour between lights does exponentially more damage per stop than someone coasting at 20. Rapid short heat bursts also cause the rotor metal to expand and contract repeatedly, which microcracks rotors over time. Hot calipers then transfer that heat into the brake fluid, and if the fluid boils, vapor enters the hydraulic lines and the pedal goes spongy. If you can see a red light 2 blocks up, there's no reason to accelerate toward it. Number 6. Overloading your vehicle with excess weight. Brakes don't stop the car, they stop the mass of the car. And that distinction hits differently when you're loaded up for a move or hauling gear in a truck bed. For every extra 100 pounds in the vehicle, the braking system converts more kinetic energy into heat on every single stop. And that extra demand compounds across every stop for as long as that weight rides along. Kinetic energy equals 1/2 times mass times velocity squared. So doubling the vehicle's mass literally doubles the energy the brakes absorb on each stop, and heavier loads also stretch stopping distances, meaning the brakes work longer per stop too. Rotors running hot under heavy loads develop hot spots that create uneven pad contact and that familiar pulsing pedal. Bags of sand left over from winter, tools that live in the trunk year-round, a loaded cargo carrier you forgot about. All of it counts on every stop. Number 7. Towing without upgraded brakes. A lot of drivers hook up a loaded trailer and drive exactly the same way they would without it, and that's where things get expensive fast. The trailer's momentum pushes against the tow vehicle under braking, which extends stopping distances in a way that catches drivers off guard. And the factory brakes on most passenger vehicles are sized for the vehicle's own weight, not the combined weight of a loaded rig. Most states require trailer brakes above 1,500 to 3,000 pounds. But even properly installed trailer brakes need correct calibration, or they'll either drag constantly or activate too late to help. Towing without proper trailer brakes puts wear on the tow vehicle's brakes at 2 to 3 times the normal rate, and drivers who invest in the right brake controller and upgraded pads up front almost always spend less over 5 years than drivers who assume the factory setup will handle it. Number 8. Skipping regular brake inspections. Brake pads wear down gradually across thousands of stops, and the window between fine and metal grinding on metal can close faster than most drivers expect. Most pads have a wear indicator built in, a small metal tab that squeals when the pad gets thin, but that's a last resort signal, not an early one. By the time you hear it consistently, the pad's already at minimum safe thickness. Skipping inspections also means missing a sticking caliper early, and a sticking caliper destroys a set of pads in a fraction of their normal lifespan. Neglected brakes don't fail with a warning. They fail when you need them, and stopping distances on worn pads can run 20 to 30% longer than a properly maintained system. Many shops inspect brakes for free, so the only thing skipping one saves is 20 minutes. Number 9. Driving through water and not drying brakes. Driving through a deep puddle and then braking hard right after is something most drivers do without thinking. But water on the rotor surface acts as a lubricant between the pad and the rotor, so your first few stops after hitting standing water can have a lot less stopping power than you'd expect. Pressing harder to compensate creates thermal stress as the hot rotor contacts cold water, and that stress contributes to warping and surface cracking over time. Drivers who park without drying their brakes after water exposure can develop rotor pitting that creates uneven pad contact. Salt water is worse because it seizes caliper slide pins and destroys pads asymmetrically. After driving through standing water, apply light brake pressure for a short distance and let friction heat dry the rotor surface before you actually need to stop. Number 10. Using cheap or low-quality brake pads. The cheapest brake pad at the parts store looks identical to the mid-range option sitting right next to it on the shelf, and that $30 difference feels easy to skip. Budget pads use lower-grade friction compounds with inconsistent density, so they wear unevenly, throw more brake dust, and fade faster when temperatures climb. You end up replacing them twice in the same window you'd replace a better set once, so the savings evaporate fast. Low-quality compounds can also be abrasive enough to chew through rotors faster, and rotors cost considerably more than pads and get replaced in pairs. Organic pads run quiet and gentle but wear quickly. Semi-metallic pads handle heat well but work harder on rotors, and ceramic pads do both jobs cleanly at a higher upfront cost. Match the pad type to how you actually drive. Stick around. because the last habit is the one that turns all of this damage into something genuinely expensive to fix. Number 11. Ignoring early warning signs, squeaking, vibrations. Squeaking, grinding, a pulsing pedal, a car that pulls left or right under braking, drivers rationalize all of it. It'll go away on its own. It's just the cold weather. That delay between noticing something and actually booking an inspection is where repair bills double. Squeaking that shows up briefly in wet conditions and then clears out is usually surface rust scrubbing off the rotors, which is normal. Squeaking that persists regardless of temperature means the wear indicator is contacting the rotor, and every mile you add compresses the timeline from needing pads to needing pads and rotors both. Grinding is worse because that's the steel backing plate cutting directly into the rotor surface, which scores it past the point where resurfacing works. A pulsing pedal means a warped rotor is creating uneven pad contact, wearing the pads in patches, and making the vibration progressively worse with every stop. Every habit on this list connects back to the same thing: mass, speed, and heat, and your brakes sitting in the middle trying to manage all three at once. Once you start thinking about your braking system as a heat problem rather than just a mechanical one, the corrections get obvious pretty fast. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos like this, because understanding what's actually happening under your car saves you real money. The driver replacing pads every 18 months isn't unlucky. They're just doing several things on this list without realizing it, and now you know exactly which ones.